Welcome to The Explainer. We're about to peel back the skin, literally, on a hidden world that exists inside all of us. A world of unseen invaders with one single mission. So let's just dive right in. Okay, let's start with a number. 200,000. What is that? Well, that's the number of eggs a single female Ascaris roundworm can pop out inside a human host every single day. It's just incredible. I mean, you've got to admit, they're some of the most successful and, frankly, terrifying organisms on Earth. So the big question is, how on earth do they pull this off? How does a tiny microscopic egg turn into a giant worm inside of us? And what other invisible invaders are out there just trying to make us their next home? Well, today we're cracking open the case files on some of the world's most successful freeloaders, parasitic worms and protozoa. All right, first things first. A parasite's main mission, their number one job, is getting in. And that's no easy feat. Think of our bodies as a fortress, right? We've got defenses. But these invaders, wow, they've had literally millennia to evolve these brilliant, crafty ways to sneak past our guard. So they basically have three main points of entry. The first, and maybe the most obvious, is right through your mouth. You know, you eat or drink something with microscopic eggs in it, contaminated food, water, even soil. The second way, straight through your skin. Yep, some tiny larvae can just burrow their way in, especially if you're walking around barefoot. And the third, well, that's the Air Force. A bite from an insect, like a mosquito or a fly, that's basically acting like a tiny living hypodermic needle. This basically splits them into two major squads. First, you've got your soil-transmitted group. These are the lurkers, like Ascaris and hookworms. Their eggs just hang out in the soil, waiting, just patiently waiting, for someone to come along. Then you've got the vector-transmitted crew. These are the ones that need a getaway driver. They use an insect, a vector, as their personal taxi service to get from one host to the next. Think things like the worm that causes elephantiasis or the protozoa behind sleeping sickness. Okay, so they're in. But getting past the front door, that's just phase one. Now the real mission begins, the inside job. And this is where it gets really wild. These parasites go on this incredible and honestly pretty horrifying migration through your body. And this isn't just them bumbling around. It's a planned out, highly choreographed trip. So let's track one of these guys, the Ascaris roundworm. It starts when you accidentally swallow an egg. It hatches in your gut. But here's the crazy part. It doesn't just stay put. The brand new larva burrows out, gets into your bloodstream, and travels all the way to your lungs. It chills there for about 2 weeks, gets bigger, and then it climbs up your windpipe into your throat, where you swallow it for a second time. Only then, after that insane round trip, does it go back to the intestine to grow into an adult worm, which can get, over a foot long. But hey, not all of them are content with just living in the gut. Some of these invaders get adventurous. They take wrong turns, or maybe they have completely different destinations in mind, sometimes in the most shocking places. Yeah, case in point, the Loiasis, or the African eyeworm. Its name alone is enough, right? So this one gets in from a deer fly bite, and the adult worm just wanders. It travels around just under your skin, causing these painful little lumps called calabar swellings. But its real party trick, the thing it's famous for, is when it decides to take a shortcut right across the surface of your eye. No joke. A living, wriggling worm crawling across your eyeball. Just imagine that. And if you thought that was bad, some parasites have figured out the ultimate hack: auto-infection. It's like a perpetual motion machine of misery. The threadworm, Loiasis, is the absolute master of this. Its larvae can hatch and then just reinfect you from the inside out. They don't even have to leave your body. They just burrow back in through the gut or the skin nearby. What does that mean? It means a single infection can last for years, even decades. A literal lifelong companion you never ever asked for. So you can imagine these aren't exactly harmless sightseeing tours through your body. As these parasites travel, eat, and make more of themselves, they cause real damage. They're leaving their mark, and sometimes that mark is serious and permanent. Let's look at the rap sheets for a few of these public enemies. You've got Onchocerciasis, carried by mosquitoes. It gets into your lymphatic system, your body's drainage network, and just clogs it up. The result? Elephantiasis, that horrible swelling. Then there's Trypanosoma brucei from the tsetse fly. This one goes for the brain and spinal cord, causing African sleeping sickness, which is just as bad as it sounds. And Trypanosoma cruzi, passed on by the kissing bug, it can lead to serious heart problems and gives you that classic swollen eyelid called Romagn's sign. And the scale of this damage, it can be almost unbelievable. This quote here really drives it home. Describing how severe elephantiasis can get, it's talking about the scrotum potentially weighing more than the rest of the body. I mean, it's just hard to even wrap your head around. Because the parasite is blocking the body's plumbing, all that fluid has nowhere to go. It just builds up, causing this absolutely grotesque and disabling swelling. And it's not just the exotic ones. Even your common intestinal worms can do a number on you over time. Take hookworms. They latch onto the wall of your intestine and just drink your blood. Now, a few of them, you might not even notice. But a whole colony? That's a constant, slow drain on your system. It leads to chronic blood loss, which means severe iron deficiency anemia. You feel weak, tired, and for kids, it can seriously mess with their development. Okay, so after all that, how in the world do we fight back against these things? Well, the good news is we are absolutely not defenseless. This battle between us and them is an old one, and we've built up a pretty impressive arsenal for defense and control. The first and most important battlefront is simply breaking their life cycle. And the weapons here are things you do every day. Seriously, washing your hands, washing your fruits and veggies, cooking your food all the way through. That stops the ones you might eat. And just wearing shoes, that can stop the ones that burrow through your feet. For the ones that fly, it's about creating a barrier, using insect repellent, sleeping under a bed net. It's all about stopping them from getting to you in the first place. Now, all those personal actions are crucial for keeping you safe. But to win the war, you have to think bigger. We're talking about community-level stuff, public health, things like proper sewage disposal so the eggs don't get into the environment, clean, safe drinking water for everyone, and massive programs to control the insect vectors. That's how you protect a whole population. You break the chain of transmission for everybody. And of course, when prevention isn't enough, we bring out the big guns, medicine. We have an amazing arsenal. You've got drugs like albendazole, which is a total workhorse against intestinal worms. Ivermectin has been a complete game changer for diseases like elephantiasis. Praziquantel takes care of flukes and tapeworms, while metronidazole handles the protozoa. And often, these aren't just given one by one. They're used in huge public health campaigns to treat entire communities at the same time, knocking these diseases way, way down. So, in the end, what's the real takeaway here? We've seen how they sneak in, the wild journeys they take inside us, and the awful mark they can leave behind. But we've also seen that we're not helpless, and maybe our most powerful weapon, the one thing that ties all our defenses together, is knowledge, right? Because when you understand exactly how these invaders live, how they travel, and what they need to thrive, that's when you get the power to outsmart them. That's how we break the cycle and keep ourselves and our communities safe.